Is there solid evidence of a hidden civilization tucked away deep under the Earth's surface, or could there be an atmosphere that has the potential to support life? With all the data pouring in from NASA and environmental agents, it's hard to ignore the idea that we might still have much to learn about our planet. Back in February 1947, Vice Admiral Richard Byrd expressed his curiosity just before embarking on a daring journey spanning 2,750 kilometers above the North Pole. He mentioned that he is truly curious about what's hidden beyond the polar extremity. He referred to a concealed world lying beyond the pole's reach, holding the core of a significant puzzle. According to Giannini and Palmer, during his flight in 1947, Vice Admiral Byrd radioed a surprising message from above the North Pole. He described seeing more than just snow-covered land, expansive areas of solid ground adorned with tall natural structures, lush forests, and thriving vegetation. He also spoke of vast bodies of water, like lakes and rivers, teeming with creatures reminiscent of the ancient era. While in mid-flight, his aircraft was gently directed to land by entities from within the Earth, guiding it with saucer-like flying vessels. Following this unexpected landing, Byrd encountered messengers believed to be from a civilization known as Agatha. These Agathans expressed concern about humanity's use of atomic weapons during World War II, and assigned Byrd the task of communicating their worries to the United States government. In his later days, Byrd maintained that a realm beyond the pole exists, a kind of ethereal continent suspended in the sky, a mystery closely intertwined with Earth. Some theories suggest that this mysterious expanse could be the fabled Rainbow City, a haven for a lost civilization from the past. However, a point of contention arises that makes people skeptical about the credibility of the recorded accounts. This revolves around the timing of the events, which are dated to February 1947. But if we fully embrace the story and examine the timeline, a puzzling aspect emerges. Byrd's first expedition over the North Pole occurred more than 20 years earlier, on May 9, 1926. Analyzing the details suggests that Byrd's path might have skirted the edges of the polar peak, raising suspicions that his navigational logs might have been fabricated, potentially borrowing from another team that made their mark in the record shortly thereafter. What gives this story an air of mystery is the intriguing idea that, if it's true, could it have possibly gotten mixed up with later missions to Antarctica due to the passage of time? Is it reasonable to think that the story might be connected to Operation High Jump? Operation High Jump was a massive effort and one of the biggest journeys into Antarctica. It involved over 4,000 people and went on for 8 months. During this time, they did a lot of things, like studying the area, making maps, and setting up places to stay. They had 13 ships to help them, including an aircraft carrier, helicopters flying in the air, boats gliding on water, and regular airplanes. Interestingly, Operation High Jump and the later Operation Deep Freeze had a significant impact, leaving an American military mark on Antarctica even though this wasn't allowed at that time. This raises questions. Why were they so eager to occupy this place? Afterward, Byrd talked with a reporter from a Chilean newspaper called El Mercurio and shared some things he learned on his trip. He suggested that the United States needed to be ready for the possibility of aggressive airplanes coming from the polar regions. This statement, which was a summary of his journey into the polar region, led to people wondering. Some took it as evidence of aircraft flying around, maybe coming from the place known as Agatha. The idea of Agatha is really interesting. The thought that there might be something hidden inside the Earth, accessible from the North and South poles. Hidden civilizations living there are fascinating ideas that have been around for a long time, something that many different civilizations and times have thought about. We can find traces of this idea in the past. In old stories from Babylon, there's Gilgamesh, who went on a journey underground to talk to his ancestor Utnapishtim. Greek mythology tells about Orpheus going down to the underground hell to save Eurydice. Even Egyptian pharaohs supposedly talked to the underworld, a place they reached through secret tunnels in the pyramids. Buddhists talked and are still talking about Agatha, a paradise underground where a ruler governed the people. When we doubt these ideas and start to seem less believable, we can look back in history and see little hints that point to the possibility of a hidden place inside the earth. It's like a puzzle that we're still figuring out. The captivating idea that the mysterious realm of Agatha might exist wasn't just believed by Admiral Byrd. Other brave explorers also talked about it. A map made by a mapmaker named Heinrich C. Baran is really interesting as it shows Antarctica without ice. But what's even more fascinating is the pattern of underwater passages on the continent. These underwater paths come together at a certain point, which some say is the entrance to Agatha, the hidden world inside the earth. The story of Agatha goes further back in time and comes from Joseph Alexandre Saint-Yves, a famous person in the French occultic. In 1886, Saint-Yves wrote a book called Mission de l'Inde en Europe, where he talked about things he learned from people in the East. He said they told him about Agatha's existence and history. According to this story, Agatha was like an island nation in the Himalayas with special beings who knew a lot about nature and got along with each other. But because of a huge cataclysmic change in the earth, Agatha went beneath the ground and became a secret paradise. At the heart of this place was the King of the World, who had the power to guide the world and talk to wise beings. Saint-Yves' story got people interested, and other smart people like Ferdynand Ossendowski from Poland started thinking about it too. In 1922, Ossendowski wrote a book called Beasts, Men and Gods about his travels during the Russian Civil War. He found lots of legends in Asia, and one of them was about Shambhala, which is a Buddhist version very similar to Agatha. A lama he met told him about the King of the World and a vision he had. This vision talked about big trouble for humanity, chaos, and then the king coming to bring peace and fairness. Looking at old things from history helps us learn more about the past. There's a map from the time of the Third Reich that's a secret puzzle. It has hidden marks that German submarines followed going into the deep parts of the earth. This map also shows both sides of the world, and every line has the mystery of Agatha, the old hidden kingdom. In the pages of history, we find a letter said to be from Karl Unger, a person on a German U-boat. This letter talks about a successful trip deep inside the earth, and it also makes it sound like they didn't want to come back up to the surface. In a world full of interesting stories, these stories fit together and make a big story. New things we find today add to this mystery. We found a big underground water source in Earth's deep layers. This place has a lot of water, enough to fill Earth's oceans 3 times. This new finding makes us think, maybe the water around Earth doesn't just come from icy things from space. Maybe it comes from inside the Earth too, in a big cycle where the water goes around and around. Thinking back, the Nazis during World War II had stories that connect with this mystery. They talked about Thule, a special place for Aryans. Some thought that Antarctica could be the door to this secret place. While people talk about Atlantis a lot, not many people talk about Thule. Long ago, in ancient times, people started talking about Thule. Around 330 to 320 BC, a Greek explorer named Pytheas first told stories about it. Then in 150 AD, a writer named Antonius Diogenes wrote more about it in a report called The Wonders Beyond Thule. People kept talking about Thule, and it seemed like a faraway place at the edge of the world. In different parts of the world, people thought about a hidden world inside Earth. They made up stories about civilizations that lived there. Not now, but a long time ago. The Greeks had stories about Hades. Christians talked about hell, and Jewish people used the word Sheol. These stories taught lessons and kept people from doing bad things, not telling them to explore the underground. But even in these stories, there are hints that something real might be there. In Tibetan Buddhism, there's a hidden city called Shambhala, deep in the Himalayas. People like the Russian mystic Nicholas Roerich tried to find it, but it's still a secret. All these stories seem to fit together like pieces of a puzzle. It's like Agatha and Shambhala might be connected. Both are hidden deep inside Earth, waiting for someone to find them. In the stories of Hindu and Celtic legends, A common thread ties them together: the idea of hidden worlds under the ground. These stories talk about amazing caves that lead to secret places. Some people think these stories might connect to an old city that's been lost. One of these stories is about Agatha, a special place in Hindu myths. It's said to have been a land of notable people who ruled for thousands of years before the big Mahabharata war. People compare it to Atlantis, Lemuria, and Mu, old places that were destroyed by wars and disasters. These ancient places might have gone underground, hidden in Agatha. Another story is about Patala, found in the Mahabharata. This hidden place is like Agatha, but it's not friendly. Patala is said to be the seventh layer under Earth, ruled by Nagas, beings that are like a mix of humans and reptiles. Their land is full of shining jewels, making it look magical. They're good with technology and are a big part of Earth's history, sometimes doing good things, other times not so good. In 2001, the US National Geospatial Intelligence Agency and the Support Office for Aerogeophysical Research found something odd near Lake Vostok. It's like a strange spot in the Earth's magnetic field, and some think it was made by humans a long time ago, a hidden place under the surface. But even with all these stories and exploration, we still don't know for sure if there are hidden civilizations under the Earth. People have tried to dig deep, like the Kola Super Deep borehole, which goes down about 7 miles. The people who did this hoped to find Agatha, but all they found was space. It's a reminder that we still have a lot to learn. The things we find under the ground sometimes surprise us. We thought there would be certain layers, but we were wrong, and water, which we didn't expect, showed up. This reminds us that we don't know everything, even when we think we do. And that brings us to the end of this video. If you like this video, click on the screen to watch other videos like this one. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and click on the notification bell to get notified when we post a new video.